Great. Now I have to film this review.
Code monkey, get up, get coffee. Code monkey, go to job. Code monkey, have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Rob say code monkey very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write login page himself. Code monkey not say it out loud. Code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like Fritos. Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. Big warm fuzzy secret heart. Code monkey like you. Code monkey like you.
What's new, Dino Dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and welcome back to another episode of the Media Raptor Reviews. Tonight, Dino Dudes, we're going to take a look at a 2019 horror thriller from comedian Jordan Peele. This man's a genius, don't get me wrong, but it just feels strange knowing that Jordan Peele has made two of the best horror movies I have seen in over a decade. It's weird saying that out loud, that to me at least, Jordan Peele is the modern day Alfred Hitchcock. Do you know how strange that is, saying that the guy who made Keanu, Human Centipede Anonymous, Substitute Teacher, like this great comedian, is one of the best horror directors? It sure is strange to me, but not nearly as strange as us. Just a heads up right now, I will not be giving away any spoilers for this entire movie, although I will comment on the ending and how I thought it was awesome. But I won't tell you what happens, I'll just tell you this now. There's a very good twist at the end that honestly I probably should have seen coming, but I didn't for some reason, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not having seen it coming, because, well, it is really clever and really smart, and it does make the movie a lot better, especially on a potential second viewing. So, one of the things I love about this movie is the writing, for about 90% of it, because it actually writes a horror family that is both likable, realistic, and sympathetic. Sure, the dad can be kind of stupid sometimes. Sure, the sister can be a little annoying sometimes. Sure, the son can be a little unrealistic with the fact that he takes a werewolf mask with him everywhere, which isn't really a spoiler, it's just his character. But the thing is, at no point did I actively go, I really hope you die. I really hate you. There was not really a single character in this movie that you're supposed to like that you end up not liking. The mom, like the main character, she is very well written because they give her a very complex backstory, very human emotions and reactions to many things, especially as somebody who's trying to survive, who's living with the effects of both trauma and PTSD. They wrote it perfectly. The atmosphere, the actual horror is very well written. The movie is smart, it's funny most of the time. A few of the jokes tend to land kind of flat, and there were a few times that I'm like, okay, in this certain scenario, is it a good idea to make a joke right now? Granted, they don't hold on them and the movie keeps going to get back to something actually kind of scary, so overall I thought this writing was incredibly strong in this movie. The concept about doppelgangers showing up out of nowhere is a very scary idea, and the reason behind them is even kind of creepier. And the ending, like I said, there's a twist at one point I really should have seen coming, and not only is it incredibly clever, it makes you question everything. Now, I'm not going to say much more because I don't want to spoil the entire movie for you, as I can highly recommend you go watch Us. Personally, I still prefer Get Out, as I think that one may have been a bit better on the horror aspect, but you know what? Us, especially as a follow-up to a movie that won an Oscar, had some pretty big shoes to fill, and darn it, it totally filled them and walked a good solid 12 miles in them. So, what makes the horror so good? Well, I'll put it this way. This movie does not rely on jump scares, there's only about 4 or 5 in the entire movie, but rather it relies on creepy atmosphere and just a genuine sense of uneasiness. constantly making you look over your shoulder and constantly feeling like there's something right behind you. It builds a sense of dread and paranoia that gets under your skin the entire movie, and so many times it looks like there's going to be a jump scare. They do the build-up, they have the music, but then they never actually do a fake out or a jump scare. It makes you think there's going to be a jump scare, but the movie is smarter than to use a jump scare, so it lets you keep feeling that sense of uneasiness and paranoia building up inside you, much rather than just cheaply have a character jump out or scream or suddenly get attacked. And while it does happen a few times, they're actually earned. Furthermore, the doppelganger family is unbelievably creepy. Like, I just didn't feel comfortable looking at them. And that's... part of that has to do with the acting. The acting in this movie is absolutely fantastic. With a lot of movies, there's usually one or two actors who for some reason just didn't give their best, or there was just a bad line delivery. This movie is a very rare example of if there was a bad line delivery, or there was a bad, poorly acted moment. I personally didn't see it because the main four actors are so good they literally overshadow any issues I had with any of the writing. In fact, my only real main issue with the writing has to be the fact that it takes a while for the movie to kind of get going. The first 20 minutes or so are very well spent building our characters, building our world, and building up this sense of dread, the atmosphere, and sort of the ideas of the movie. Especially the more political ideas, which I'm not going to talk about because I don't like doing politics on this channel. Now, I think maybe if they had a few more, like, blink and you'll miss it moments of the doppelgangers or the implications of that happening, and there might have been and I just didn't see them, I think that may have helped. But I think at the same time, it's good they didn't, because then it makes the very sudden and drastic appearance of them all the creepier by the sense that we don't know where they came from. We don't know why they're doing this, and it's just creepy, you know? Having people who look identical to you suddenly showing up, and there's nothing you can do about it, like, and they want you dead, like, what are you gonna do? Hey, here's Mountain Dew. Thanks. It turns out that one, he's actually pretty chill. He was just pulling a prank on me with those scissors at the beginning. Anyhow, part of what makes this movie so good, like I said, is the acting. We have, I don't know the actors' names, but our main character, our main actress, she has this creepy version of her known as Red, who talks in this very raspy and breathy voice, which to most people would sound like, oh, okay, they're just trying to sound creepy, but the way the actress pulls it off makes it actually creepy. The father, a character, or his doppelganger, is essentially relegated to nothing but screaming, or this might come across as offensive, almost like gorilla noises in a sense. Like, he just makes very strange, inhuman noises. The daughter does nothing but do a smile that would make the Joker jealous, and the son, well, Pluto, he is terrifying. He is by far the scariest thing in the entire movie. I'm not really going to spoil what he does, you just have to watch the movie. Trust me, it is worth it. As for the other actors, every other actor does a very good job. The actors, well, all the other doppelgangers we see, that's kind of a spoiler, but you also should have kind of expected it, are really creepy. All the other human actors are very well acted and seem realistic. Granted, they are a little annoying, but that's kind of the point. They're meant to be the dumb, sort of white characters in horror movies. And yes, you could say, isn't that cliched writing then? Well, yes, but considering the fact that they're in the movie for less than 5 minutes, because, okay, kind of a spoiler, they die, but it wouldn't be much of a horror movie if nobody died. Yeah. And like I've said so many times, there's a twist at the end. In fact, the last whole 20 minutes are some of the best horror writing I've seen in a long time. I absolutely loved it. It was the perfect sort of Chekhov's gun setup for so many things coming together to make a fantastic climax that still sticks with me, and I can't help but talk about with the guys I saw it with to this day, and it's already been like 4 days since I watched it. Part else what helps this movie is the score. The score is unbelievably creepy. Mostly because it's this one chorus over and over that I don't really understand what they're saying, or even if they are saying anything intelligible, but it certainly does lead to a very creepy atmosphere that just sort of makes you feel uncomfortable listening to it. Also, quite strangely, do I have it here with me? Yeah, let me just check. Of all things they would play in the soundtrack, this gets played at one point. More specifically, F the Police gets played in one scene. And granted, while I will admit, at first it was meant to be a joke that I thought was dragging on too long, they somehow made both NWA and the Beach Boys scary in this movie. Yeah, Jordan Peele somehow made the Beach Boys terrifying. Part else what helps this movie is the fantastic camera work. All throughout the movie we get these really interesting shots of, well, the characters walking, and it's sort of it's a bird's eye, it's an aerial shot on an angle, so the shadows, it's not just straight out, it's on an angle and they're far longer. Stuff like that just looks beautiful to look at. A lot of the film is shot, well, quite masterfully. When it needs to be shaky, it's shaky. When it needs to be quick, it's quick. Everything about it just works. And that honestly is the best way I can put it. Just about everything in this movie works. What didn't work? Once or twice, I think some of the special effects, namely some of the CG, was a little noticeable. Granted, the practical blood and the practical makeup is awesome. It looks fantastic. The costuming is great. My main real complaint with the movie is there's a few characters, namely the main character's parents, who sort of show up and you think you're going to have kind of a big, important role later on or something, but it's just sort of a, oh, they died a while ago, that sucks kind of thing. So really, if they had done more with them, that may have been cool, but at the same time, I can still highly recommend Us. I'm giving it 3.5 Raptor Claws out of 4. Go watch it if you like horror, go watch it if you like suspense, go watch it if you like Hitchcock movies. It is a masterpiece of suspense and terror. The only film in recent memory I can think of that's better than it is Get Out, which has a solid 4 Raptor Claw rating with me because it just got some things a bit better, such as the horror aspect was much tighter and the humor was a bit better and not as oddly placed in a few places. But still, I went into Us, and I think part of what made me enjoy it so much was the entire theater I was in when I watched it was so into it as well. So it was a good theater experience as well. But regardless, Us is a movie I'm going to have to rewatch more than once to try and find any Easter eggs or hidden messages or just things that you don't see on a first viewing, because I feel like there's a lot in this movie that we wouldn't see the first time around. With that being said, that's all for this episode of the Media Raptor Reviews, so until next time, this has been the Media Raptor, as always saying keep cool, and I will see all you Dino Dudes around. Later.